Hi, this is the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is the February Inside Out reading for Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Rising, and Scorpio Moon. So Scorpio, what are your conscious desires? What are you actively pursuing? This would be your known intentions, what you're openly telling yourself and others about why you're doing what you're doing. You have the Five of Swords and children, as well as contemplate. So you're doing some thinking about a negative situation. Maybe it involves children, maybe it involves someone from your childhood, or you're going in circles trying to get something going and finding it very difficult. This is extreme negative energy where somebody may be experiencing some kind of embarrassment or humiliation because of a circumstance. Maybe you feel like you're not being taken seriously or you're having some difficulty with your children. This is a do-it-yourself card, the ultimate do-it-yourself card. So somebody doesn't want to listen to advice. So it could be your conscious desire is to do some contemplation, get some advice or some counsel, put your head together with someone else to come up with some ideas about a situation that seems to be going nowhere. And in all actuality, there could be even some deception or treachery. But whatever it is, this is about winning at all cost in spite of whatever casualties there are. So somebody doesn't want to listen. Now, it could be you're thinking about how to act in your own best interest, or your child is doing that, or again, something where you're trying to start something new. So you're putting a lot of thought into a situation that probably should have been handled a long time ago. And the only good that's going to come out of this, because this is a very negative card, it's one of my least favorite cards, where you're going to be prone to making some kind of error or mistake. No matter how careful or thorough you think you are, something is going to fall through the crack. There's going to be some kind of mistake. The good part is, whatever is going on, you have become so frustrated that you are finally taking some action to reconcile the situation that you should have taken care of a long time ago. And it may just be to get a response, to find out where you are in the game, and in spite of whatever the answer is, you would just feel better knowing where you're headed. So you're dealing with a no-win situation and putting some thought into it that may tie to your children, a childhood friend, or trying to start something new, the initial stages where you've had difficulty getting something going. But what are the unconscious desires? Those would be the desires that perhaps you're not even aware of, those that are hidden to self because they're buried inside suppressed memories, painful experiences, repressed emotions, that you're not aware or realize is still exerting some kind of influence over your behavior. Now, perhaps your conscious and unconscious desires are working in tandem, but very often they're at odds with one another. And your unconscious desires can really be the real motivation behind your actions in spite of what you may be openly projecting. And so your unconscious desires have to do with dissatisfaction and gaining some clarity. Clarity that ties to confidence, whether you're confident in taking advantage of an opportunity. Because this is about taking a time out to reconsider some recent choices or decision and gaining greater clarity about that. Now, you may be bored, you may be apathetic, you may be dissatisfied about where you are. Somebody may not want what's on offer. You may not realize that something has changed and it's difficult for you to accept that something has changed. But whatever's going on, your intuition is giving you some kind of prompting. And depending on how self-aware you are of that prompting of your intuition, will determine whether you are missing an opportunity or whether you should indeed take it. Something could be on offer that you really don't want because you can recognize that it has a problematic future. You may not have confidence in it. Or you are confident that you don't need anything else. You're satisfied with where you are. So your unconscious desire is to gain some clarity over a situation, to determine whether an opportunity is indeed right for you, whether you're missing something, whether somebody is accepting something that's been extended, and whether that's the right thing to do. But what is it that you need? What your needs could work with your desires, or this could be what you actually need in spite of your desires. So you have the Two of Pentacles. So once again, you're weighing your options. You're doing a lot of thinking. You're weighing your options. In the interim, you could be on this emotional roller coaster. There are issues surrounding whether you have enough of something. Now, for some of you, this is about as soon as money comes in, it has to go out again. So there's a definite focus on resources or something that seems to be on an endless loop. You may be juggling multiple responsibilities and obligations. You may be looking at two opportunities. So you're trying to decide what is best for yourself. If you don't have enough of something, then you're having to be really good at navigating some choppy waters. You may be taking from one account and paying this over here until you can refinance this over there. So you're doing some juggling with regard to your money, and you're trying to keep those balls in the air. This could also be about a gift of some sort, whether you're going to offer something or that something is being offered to you. There is a change occurring, perhaps a change in the environment. Now, it could be a literal environment. You're changing your location, or your surrounding environment, your immediate environment is changing somehow. Maybe a child is in your environment, or you're gaining some kind of clarity about some type of offer that brings change. But you're going back and forth about a broken heart. Again, maybe you're on this emotional roller coaster, never-ending problems in a no-win situation connected to something new or a child or something, that you're trying to get going, and maybe you just don't have enough money, or you're brokenhearted about receiving a gift or something not being accepted. There's some sense of betrayal, disappointment, loss for whatever reason. And you may be trying to rectify that by juggling things around. It's also concerning money or the future. So you are trying to make some decisions, some options that are beneficial. What is best for you? And again, this could be something that's coming back to you. You may be looking at resources, opportunities. There's something that either you or someone else is broken-hearted about that pertains to money or the future. And you're having to make some very important choices regarding that. Now, the positive influence would be those emotions, circumstances, people, conditions that are supporting and contributing to the positive outcome of this situation. You have the Wheel of Fortune, so perhaps there's some rapid improvements. For some of you, it may tie to travel, it may tie to vehicles, it could tie to money, but a change is in the air, and a very karmic change based on your actions, words, or deeds recently. So the wheel is spinning, so there could be a fortunate turn of events. There could be some luck running through a situation. And if there's been any broken heart, maybe something hadn't worked out the way you had hoped, that could very well be a blessing in disguise, because there's some luck running through a circumstance for you. And the key is hitting the expectation level on mark. So if you're not expecting anything because you don't have confidence, you may be pleasantly surprised. Or, if you're expecting too much, you could be very disappointed. So this is about having the right amount of confidence in a circumstance or a situation. And it may tie to your domestic affairs. Perhaps you're traveling to find a home. Maybe you're purchasing a home, or you're traveling, maybe there's some changes in the home that feel better. There's an improvement because you have some domestic bliss. You feel good about your home life. Maybe you're redecorating or renovating, or you're moving in together. So there, maybe, the money, you're putting money into a home. So this is a positive influence. Even though you may be dealing with some fears or some illusions concerning that, the positive influence is there's a need to acknowledge those fears, or making some changes, some positive changes where perhaps there was some manipulative or shadow type behavior taking place. The negative influence would be any person, issue, obstacle, or condition that's impacting the circumstance in a negative or limiting way. And you have the Eight of Wands, death, and empowerment. So there's some kind of communication or travel issue. Something is moving very quickly, or it's not moving quickly enough, perhaps. Maybe it's been the end of communication, or you were hoping to renew communication. It could be, this card has a very strong tie to you. So something connected to you may have a negative influence on a circumstance. Now, it could be you're trying to gain empowerment over a large sum of money, over a crisis, over surgery, over making some kind of important change. Could be sexual, could be psychological. Something is going on. You're having to rush to get something launched, started, going. And perhaps you're not prepared. Whatever has happened, now it's starting to feel overwhelming. You weren't prepared to deal with it, and you're having to play catch up and empower yourself in some way. So there's been some important change that is profound, perhaps unsettling, disturbing, and it may be overwhelming, and you're having to make some major changes as a result of whatever has occurred. But what's at the heart, the crux of this situation? You have the Fool card. So once again, it could be tied to a child or something new. It may have to do with travel, people at a distance. There's some new chapter that is opening up for you where you're having to make a decision, and there are issues of commitment. How committed are you? How committed is the other person? Should I take this leap of faith? There's a risk factor here. Does this make good sense? So those are questions that you're dealing with, and you have to make sure that you pay attention to whatever your intuition is telling you, because something about this circumstance says you're lacking some experience, knowledge, or know-how. Now, this is a good time to reach out, to have a novel experience, to connect to someone new, to introduce yourself, to expand your world, to network, to start a new relationship, a new job, a new residence. If you're prepared, if you've gotten all of your ducks in a row. But you have to make sure that you're not naive or gullible or foolish, because again, there's a risk factor. You may jump, but the net may not appear. So it could be that, because there are issues of juggling responsibilities. Maybe somebody's brokenhearted about that. Maybe somebody's been very self-absorbed. They've only been concerned with their own interests. And so perhaps something fell through the cracks. Maybe affection or something was offered and it was turned down or not noticed. So you're having to make some important decisions that are going to take you in a new arena. And it may be unsettling. It may be something connected to your domestic sphere. It could be your career. But there's some kind of change that ties to engagement. Now, maybe you're making a decision about whether you want to get engaged. Maybe your child is getting engaged. You're looking at a decision about a promise, an offer, a proposal. This could be marriage itself. It could be a social activity. It could be some type of undertaking. But you're having to look at some type of offer and make a decision. And That is either to recognize the sacredness of commitment to another person or a circumstance, or realize how one of you is on shaky ground. You're not on sure footing. Now, what is the call to action? You have, this could be the one. So this could very well be making a decision about an engagement or a connection to someone, some kind of promise, something about your circumstance. You're having to choose. You're making a choice. This could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. So again, it could be some kind of opportunity. Something is on offer. Maybe one of you has fallen in love. There's some fears about that. There's some changes in the home, or you're having to change your home. You're changing your lifestyle in some way. And maybe there's some fears connected to that. But this says speak your truth. So you're at this important juncture where if you feel you're in the right circumstance, in the right place, in front of the right person, communication is going to be important. You may need to empower yourself by making some changes in the way you communicate. Maybe, you're rushing into something, or maybe you need to rush to do something, but definitely you need to open up and speak your truth about it so that you don't miss an important opportunity. All right, Scorpio, now that you know what's at the heart of your situation for February, head over to Vimeo to find out the end of the story, what you can change, what you can't, how it's all likely to turn out. I want to thank you for sharing your time and space. Please be sure to like and subscribe. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Love Indie decks featured in this reading, the link is down below.